Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I am Ryofu and you are watching The Gaming Harbinger. So I wanted to make a really short video, but this is still an important video. As most of you know, the Xbox Showcase happened, Summer Gamefest happened, and while there's a couple of things here and there that I thought were pretty awesome, in this video I specifically want to talk about none other than Slitterhead. This game is being handcrafted by the mastermind behind Silent Hill. Now, he also worked on the Gravity Rush series as well. And this is none other than Keiichiro Toyama. By the way, no intro for this video, we're just gonna dive right in. So, based off of this trailer, what we can gather is that this game seems a little more action-y, and it's definitely not some game that's meant to be like, hey, I haven't made Silent Hill in a while. Well, here's a new version or a variation of Silent Hill. That's not what this game is. This is something completely different, which makes me very intrigued. You know, it's good to see that. My initial impression though was I was like, uh-oh. Like, if you look at the gameplay, I'm not completely sold on it just yet. But an important thing to keep in mind, and I think this is not only for people like me that are making YouTube videos, but I think it's just us as people, us as gamers, that this is an incomplete game. It is not out yet, so it's hard to kind of decipher like, okay, is this how the gameplay is going to be? Or, you know, we're just seeing little snippets of stuff. But based off of what I can see, it looks a tad sluggish, but obviously, I mean, that's not going to be like a deal breaker for me personally, but I could understand if people see the gameplay and they might feel it's a little dated. Maybe that's a better word for it. Maybe it looks a little dated, but that's okay. That's okay. In some ways, I also respect the fact that this is going to be something different, that it's not going to be replicating the past. Aside from it being in a similar genre, this is something that's very different. Another important aspect to point out is that and this is not an insult or anything, but I believe looking at this game, it does not look like a AAA game to me. This looks more closer in line with like a AA game, which again, like I said, as of lately, a lot of AA stuff has been impressing me. I have been having a blast with, so that's not a bad thing. Now, one thing I do want to point out is there was this moment where you're jumping from human to human and each human had different means of attacking. That's kind of intriguing. You got my attention with that one. I would say that's a plus for me. Also, one thing that really got my attention was one of the characters getting his hand sliced off and then it reattaching itself. That was pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie, that was cool. Regarding Bloober Team and them remaking Silent Hill 2, that is something that I'm very curious to check out, and I definitely will when it releases on October 8th. But ultimately, this is a game, Slitterhead is something that I'm more interested in, and here's the reason why. The same thing with Shinji Mikami, you know, the person, the man, the myth, the legend that directed Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 4. I'm always curious when the top people, the people that are really established, when they go on to create other things after their smash hits. I'm always intrigued by that. And I think a lot of times with gamers, and this is not me going on a rant or anything, but I think a lot of gamers, like, if they're a fan of Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, 4, that's all they care about. So like Resident Evil 5, 6, 7, they're not really paying attention on the back end, like who was the director of this one, who did the writing or whatever. I'm one of those guys that I pay attention to stuff like that. So when someone leaves or steps away and they start a new company and they start working on that, stuff like that's interesting to me. And I want to see, oh, let me see what else this guy is making, because I'm probably going to like it. I also just want to say that seeing a game like this reminds me of like the PlayStation 2 era, where we got these weird, quirky Japanese games and maybe they had elements of horror, stuff like that. But it's good to see a game like this, but at the same time, I am very curious to know what you think. Is this a game you would check out? Is this something where you're like, maybe you're disappointed, maybe you did want Silent Hill 2.0? Please let me know down in the comment section. You know, as for me personally, I'm glad that there's still people out there, especially on the Japanese front, that are willing to experiment and try different things and not just be like, well, I guess I gotta make my own version since Konami owns the rights for Silent Hill. Now I gotta do my version of a newer Silent Hill. No, instead it's like, let's make something new. Let's do something different. And I'm here for that. I am absolutely here for that. As always, I appreciate you watching the video to the very end, and I'll see you next time.